What's up, y'all? It's just Rhonda. Welcome to my channel. It's Wednesday. What time is it, y'all? It's 8:18, and we've made it over the hump. Like by the time y'all get this, it'll probably be 9 o'clock, but that's neither here nor there. It's Wednesday. It's hump day. We've made it over the hump. We on to Thursday, and yeah, but before we get on to Thursday, I'm gonna need y'all to go ahead and like the video, subscribe to my channel, and we're here to talk about the Bills. Okay, it's season. I don't know. I'll put the seasons in the. It's season 7. Is it season 7? I don't know. They be over here doing these breaks and things and having one season one place. And I'm not gonna sit over here and talk about the season. It'll be down in the comments and it'll correlate with whatever um on on demand is saying. Anyway, y'all, we're here to talk about the Bells. It was an interesting episode. I feel like, we're coming to the end of the road and we're trying to understand like where these bells are going. And I talked about that a little bit in, my last review that we have to figure out what's happening here. I don't hate what's happening necessarily. I just would like for there to be a shift. So Carrie, the new person, has carried a lot of this season. Like her, don't like her, I don't know. I feel like Carrie came in and carried a lot of this season. Now, Carrie came here from where's she from? She's from the coast. So you're not from Jackson. So, like I have mentioned before, Carrie is going to need to figure out who it is, like her friend group is. Child, somebody, please go see if Willie and Akeisha will come back over here, even if it's just for, as a friend of position. We want to get back to seeing what's going on Fair Street. I think a big part of why we like this show is because of the businesses. And Maria's over here doing what she do. She handling her business. Maria's in her best element when she's doing her thing over there. So puts her in a better place and it gives us something to be like, oh, okay. You know what I'm saying? Besides all the nonsense. So Carrie had these ladies come on down to the coast and she invited them to a little bit of therapy. Now, Carrie had her friend who is a life coach. We're not going to call it therapy. That she threw that in there, but it wasn't therapy. It was, I'm going to call it an outside objective perspective. I think once you have so much fighting within the group and people taking sides, they have an outsider that has come in here and let these ladies know that y'all need to remove these women from your conversation. Y'all do put your big girl panties on and have a conversation, just the two of you. They sitting up here crying, Letitia crying, Latrice is crying. I feel like the crying was all very performative to some extent. I also feel like it wasn't because they are mourning this friendship that they've never had. I just don't believe that was the thing. They bonded over being gossipy and messy. For whatever reason, Leticia has wanted to, keep her Latrice in this position of, I brought you over here. And I mean, that is what it is. I brought you over here. And so you have to respect me, at least for that reason, because we all know that I don't have any actual other businesses going on. And I don't think they're born in a friendship necessarily, because you can't be friends with someone, not real friends, that you cannot trust. And they've both seen each other doing dirty stuff behind the scenes. They've acted together to do dirty stuff behind the scenes. So the friendship is always going to have to be surface level because we can't trust each other. Cliff and Glenn, I think that friendship was fractured for a different reason, but we'll get into that. Anyway, the therapy lady is like, y'all need to quit all this bullshit, have a conversation, put it on the table, and be done with it. Because if you're going to have a collective, because that's what this is not necessarily about their personal friendships. This is about the collective, these women of business of Jackson. Carrie, if you want to be involved in Jackson, girl, maybe you should open a Brick and Spoon over there. Anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. So, I mean, I feel like at the end of the day, that's how they wrapped up the conversation. The conversation was ended with them, agreeing that they, will somehow try to find time to make this happen. It hasn't become a thing. They haven't let their guard down at all. They've just agreed to, resolve what has to be resolved. Because, I mean, at the end, we can't keep coming over here fighting, about nothing. And like I said, I always feel like drama is going to show itself. Like Tamra being in the car and finding out her father had a stroke. That's freaking drama. And even though obviously we don't want to like run the cameras over to the hospital, it's a conversation that needs to be talked about. And people like who have gone through that type of thing. I was at work when I was a caregiver for my mother 2 times, 2 different occasions. I was at work, and it's been so long, I don't know, remember which thing happened first, but she was there at my house taking care of my daughter, my youngest, who was like 2 years old at the time. My youngest was a baby. My mother was here helping me, with childcare. And she had a stroke and managed to get my daughter to bring her the cell phone. Her cell phone was, I think, on her wheelchair. She could walk, but she needed to maneuver in a wheelchair. Um, anyway, the 2-year-old came in the bathroom, gave her the phone, and she called me. And she had fallen. Like I don't know what in the world made her think that that was the good time to get inside of the tub, but she got in the tub and she couldn't move. She had a stroke. She couldn't move. She was on the bathroom floor. And like I said, managed to get the baby to bring her the phone. But so now I have to leave my client in the shampoo bowl. Somebody has to take over, and I'm rushing to go handle that situation. So, for Tamra to be able to come over, like I said, at least share that story, because people have been through it. Selena has been through it. And it's an important conversation to have outside of all of this foolishness where y'all, being, I guess, messy bitches do messy shit. So that's all I can think of. Like, I feel like messy bitches do messy shit. And if y'all are going to involve yourself with each other, this is the type of situation that you're going to have to deal with. Carrie, I'm done. I don't want to hear about it no more. About, this. I realized like this is, she been talking about this restaurant in Mobile that's not working like throughout the season. And, let's wrap it up. Her man Matt pops up on her at the job. Now, see how different this interaction is when Matt pops up on her at her job versus Glenn popping up on Tisha at her job. He came over there. She's still like unresolved. She hasn't come to terms with the fact that she's going to have to close this restaurant. He sat down. Carrie's over here pretending to speak Spanish. And if I haven't heard anything this season, I feel like my favorite thing I've heard over here at the Belle Collective is Hola, ¿cómo está? Konnichiwa. Ooh, can't you see like Carrie and Aisha being freaking hilarious? We say Carlos because this is your show. And when I watch Dustin and Carlos and Blue and Claudia, when I watch them review the show, love Dustin, love Blue. Claudia, I like her or whatever sometimes. She definitely adds a little something, a perspective. Anyway, when I'm watching them, they like over it real quick. Like the review of Belle Collective is so quick, and I think they talk about 2 scenes and they move on to the next thing to talk about Married to Medicine. And I'm like, Carlos, this is your show. This is your opportunity to, I guess he's trying to stay neutral, child. Anyway, this man Matt comes over to talk to his wife about, just things that are going on. She uploaded him on the therapy session, and they feel like Matt said, it seems like we walked into the middle of a war. They did. You walked into a middle of, these messy bitches be over here being messy. I understand the opportunity and why they would want to come over here. We're not going to talk about perfect marriages because nobody's marriage is perfect. And if you're going to expose some of the bumps along the way in your marriage, I feel like, should decide how you're going to let that play out. Right now, they're in a place, we're not talking about necessarily their marriage, their relationship with each other, but the things that go on in in people's lives when they're married. He is at a place in his life where he wants to move away from working for somebody else and retire in a place where he has his own. And I think that's great. Carrie is in a place where she's trying to hold on to this restaurant and she's letting I don't want to say her ego get in the way, but her emotions get in the way because you have high hopes for something and obviously don't want to see it fail. I wouldn't look at it as a failure. Um, yeah, let that one go and look on to something else. If you're going to be over here on Belle Collective, we don't know how long Belle Collective is going to be around. But if you can at least establish a reputation over here where people want to come to your businesses, Brick and Spoon, then yeah, definitely focus on that. Sorry, y'all. Let me just answer this text. Da, 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 da. I don't want to pause it. That's just silly. I mean, I'm recording, but I still want to be here right with y'all. Anyway, sometimes you need to handle your business. I had to do that, and yeah, I can see why. Um, when she was asking him for help, why he didn't want to get involved in that. He didn't want to invest his time in that. That's your thing. You do the restaurant. I have my own thing that I want to do. And she's concerned about the timing, obviously. And I feel like that's only because she's dealing with the situation with this restaurant. And I feel like he's bringing it up to let her know, like, this is us having the conversation. This is what I've been thinking. And this is us being transparent. People always want to be like transparency. I guess he didn't know how. They'll talk about it some more, you know what I'm saying, without the cameras. But I think this is a good time to introduce it. Carrie, your restaurant is failing. So while we're in this shift, before you go, throw yourself into whatever you like to throw yourself into, we're gonna pause. Um, we're on a platform, like I said, where we can build a reputation with, Carrie and her husband and, their family unit and around the area of Mississippi. Look like they just be going, from the coast. They could be from the coast to Jackson. You ain't got to live there, girl, but he wants to do his own thing. And she doesn't think the timing's good. I think it's really good. You're over here, you getting this Belle Collective check. You're going to have to come to terms with the fact that this restaurant didn't work, and it's not going to be all about what Carrie wants to do as a couple. We're going to have to figure out how from this step on we're going to move financially. There's conversations that need to be had because they're a couple. What is that going to look like for the family? But I did enjoy like this conversation being real and them questioning. He said he feel like he came into the middle of a war. Like I said, y'all came into some mess, but don't get caught up in the mess, Carrie. I don't know what's happening over there, but Carrie, be careful. Don't get caught up in the mess. Just, I don't know, try to navigate as authentic as you can within this group, but because it's a lot of backstabbing. And even with the Carrie thing, everybody is over here saying, "Oh, Carrie don't know what she's doing. She don't know them like that. She's wasting their time." And this Carrie didn't work. And I'm like, like it worked though. Like y'all are saying it didn't work. And it's to Marie. It's too soon. They weren't ready to talk. I feel like it worked. So, at the end of the day, they did therapy and then they had to sit down. Now, I don't know who you want to give credit to. Give it credit to the Carrie's friend, the coach, life coach lady. But, Carrie brought these two women together and they came to a point where at least they were willing to have a conversation. So y'all are haters. And again, maybe it worked this way because Carrie is new. And I don't know whose side Carrie's on, honestly. I don't know whose side Carrie is on, but Letitia brought her in, and it doesn't matter because the advice, Carrie wasn't doing the therapy herself. Carrie was allowing her friend to, do her coaching or whatever you want to call it. I don't want to keep saying therapy. She said it was her friend, a life coach, that is on some get your shit together movement or whatever. Anyway, I like this conversation. I think it was an example of a healthy relationship. We don't see enough of that, and people handling business and, showing you how business is not always, it can be stressful. He, being his own sports agent, why the hell not? At the end of the day, if it doesn't work out, he can go get a job somewhere. It just depends how he leaves the situation. But you get to a certain age, and sometimes less money feels way better than the stress that goes along with working for corporate or however that thing is set up over there. He can work and have a couple few clients, and he's made his connections, and I think it can work. So good luck with that. I want to see them, do that. She, Carrie is dealing with real life stuff and being involved with Leticia and Latrice in that drama. And I think the real thing that got her wasn't the arguing back and forth so much. It was the fight down to the parking lot where she's like, I don't know if I want to be associating myself with this. And you should be concerned. They all should. That's now you want to be like, Jackson ain't ghetto. Yeah, this is ghetto. That's ghetto. Y'all be fighting all the time, and that's ghetto. And y'all are too old for that. Yeah, I think the timing is good. So we'll see what happens with that. Cliff and Latrice pull up at her doctor's appointment in a Cybertruck. Every time they pull up in that Cybertruck, I'm like, it's so MAGA of you. These two think they're better than everyone. And, you know, they're not, they have more money, I feel like, than their peer group, some of them, but I don't feel like they're any different. It's like Cliff and Latrice are exactly the same as far as I'm concerned, is Glenn and Latrice. Cliff has a business. That part is true. Aside from, he got a little coin, property and stuff like that. I feel like he's country and he's ignorant, but he's not dumb. Does that make sense? Because he's managed, to attain a certain amount of wealth. And Latrice also, she knows how to run a business. She knows who her network is. She's pretty. She's very stylish. And so people are attracted to that, especially in the beauty business. The beauty business is very superficial. So, it's not easy to stay real within the beauty business. You are definitely led by, and I'm saying that because that's how I've chosen. That's my career of choice. But in that business, it's very superficial. I'm gonna just leave it there. Um, She went to the doctor. She said this is Cliff's first visit with the doctor because he's being neglectful. I don't think most men go to the doctor with their wives unless there's something wrong. So now there's something wrong, and he needs to be in here to hear what's going on. This lady is saying that the fibroids might, not, don't know for sure, might have something to do with her blood clots. I feel like, Latrice, maybe at this point it's time for you to just get a second opinion. That's all. Just get a second opinion because you have one doctor that you've been going to that's looking at the labs and seeing things through one lens. I'm not saying this doctor is a bad doctor. I'm just saying that's what a second opinion is for. A second, fresh set of eyes that can maybe help lead you into finding out what is wrong and why you're having blood clots. I'm going to go out here and guess. I'm not a doctor. I'm just, over here giving my opinion. But I feel like Cliff probably is a big part of why you have blood clots, because you're stressed out from being with this man who you're trying to pretend like is Prince Charming, but who was literally just in the Colombia or wherever hell he was doing what? You didn't say he's over there doing real estate. He's over in Colombia just because, And I said with these women whose husbands be going to the Dominican Republic and all of that stuff that they're doing, child, at least it's not around the corner. I know that sounds crazy to say, but they gonna do what they gonna do. So if you're gonna be messy, leave the mess somewhere other than right here, because I don't want to have to pull up, to the mall and the girl at the perfume counter, was up at the club in one of them private rooms with Cliff. So go take your ass to Columbia or something. Then, she gonna stay. You know what I'm saying? And I think the bigger part of her stress is not that he's doing something outside of the marriage, because I don't think she likes him. I think the biggest part of her stress is somebody finding out the business. Now, if he gonna take some of them big mouth husbands like Glenn is mad he didn't get to go to Columbia, child. I bet you that. And he's taking it out on Leticia. Anyway, we over here at the doctor's office. Fibroids, that might be the reason behind the blood clots. Might be, we don't know. So, thus get a second opinion so we can get, a clearer picture. She's telling him about therapy. And this is funny thing. I've not heard Latrice nor Leticia say anything negative about therapy. Only Marie and Selena and Tambra. What don't you think she gonna do? She don't, they all having this attitude about it, which these two have not. And these are the two people involved. She asked her husband, what do you think? And he said he would thinks they need to sit down like ladies, like civilized ladies, and have a conversation. I don't see anything wrong with that advice. It's just a weird cover from Cliff, but I'm gonna take when it's good. You just gotta let it be good. You can't remind. I go remind you of the bad, but I'm gonna go ahead and let you. Maybe her being in this doctor's office is making him. It's not making him different. I think he just doesn't want to be a part of her stress. So thank God for small favors. Yeah, y'all should sit down like civilized ladies. That's a good advice, Cliff. I think whatever you're doing, keep going to Columbia. Keep, give a good advice. What else happened? This right here. Oh, this bothered me so much. Leticia has a photo shoot. There's so many things wrong happening in this particular scene. So she gets up. It's her photo shoot day. She's excited. And can I say, Leticia looked cute in this whole episode. You know what I'm saying? She was cute over here, her photo shoot. She was cute at the end. I have no issues with her wardrobe necessarily. Leticia did a good job. I'm saying this because I be dogging her a lot of times based on the things that she be wearing. You know what I'm saying? But this time, like, if I could talk about the bad, I could talk about the good. This was bad. Tisha's getting ready, before her photo shoot. Mr. Donald comes over here. He's the investor. That's what they're calling him. He's the investor in this project. I think that's dope, first of all. And this is not have nothing to do with what her stupid ass husband was saying. But I do think it's smart for Mr. Donald to invest in Tisha, who is over here on OWN with leading a television show. So if he's got money to invest in something, this is how you handle business. But her husband doesn't know what business looks like. So she's sitting up here in front of this makeup artist telling Mr. Donald that her husband thinks that he's trying to get, his return on his investment in cootie coupons. And in front of the makeup artist. And I was like, this is exactly what happened on Love and Marriage Huntsville. They was over there running their mouth in front of the makeup artist. And then it turns into a whole thing between the cast members because this makeup artist went and told, other people, and it turned into a thing. So do you think this boy is not going to go share with his friend group that Glenn thinks that Mr. Donald is trying to get some cootie cat from Leticia? See what I'm saying? That's a conversation that never should have happened. There was no reason for her to even say anything to that man about that. You telling some man outside your marriage, and giggling, and you got a wife. Well, married men are the worst, and sometimes married women too. So that's not a flex. That means nothing. Anyway. I just thought this was a bad idea. Tisha, this is how you mess get started. And I wonder what was her motivation for doing that. Because now you're going to take a situation that's already volatile and make it worse. And based on the way Mr. Donald was sitting here looking, he don't think that shit is funny. He thought that was messy. He doesn't want to be involved in you and Glenn's shit. And he was like, okay, well, I just came over here to check on you. Because what we're not going to do is get me mixed up in any of this mess. So Tisha is in the middle of her photo shoot, and I'm gonna stand by what I said the first time. Tisha, Mr. Donald, get her in one of these ads with these ladies. You know what I'm saying? The plus size ladies. Look how cute she looks now. This is how you look booked in business. She's not spilling out of anything. She doesn't look squished into anything. Hair beat, makeup beat. Keep that boy on your team because he did an excellent job, the hairdresser and the makeup artist. So she's, feeling great about what she's got going on over here. And this is also, I feel like, a thing. Sometimes it takes one project to lead you into the next one that's, going to actually work. So I don't know about this whole talk show situation. I see everyone sitting down in front of a camera and with a mic and a ring light, just like myself. So I can't say it's not going to work. And there's a lot of people calling it a podcast. I think that's what she should call it. So if we want to say podcast or if we want to say talk show, that's semantics. If we want to have a talk show, a podcast, her set is cute. There's people around, not just Jackson, but within the network. Her first guest was Tisha Scott. So people will tune into that. We did, you know what I'm saying? So, we tuned in over here, but I don't hate it. And if you keep trying and getting chasing your dreams, we don't want to squash her dreams. We just want her to make something stick. And brunches, it's been a path for her. We just want her to make something real. But it seems like the reason why she can't make something real happen is because of this man here that comes stomping down the hallway uninvited with that ugly outfit on, dressed like, a YN. Your man think he a YN. And he knows nothing except for bullshit that he hears down to the barbershop from other ignorant ass ninjas. That's how I feel about that. Tisha came in this room smiling and feeling herself. As soon as this man walked in the room, he sucked all the air out of the room. Nobody wanted him there. Not the backpack boy, not Mr. Donald, not Leticia or any of those people. She sat here a couple weeks ago with all these people that she's calling her team, and her team got together to create a photo shoot. Why Glenn felt like he needed to be there, he doesn't. He's just, I feel like, came here to squash it. That was his mission. And, his mission was accomplished. He didn't have not any positive motivation for coming over here. He did not come to support, for sure. That's what he said. He did not come to support. He came to destroy and tear down. And he was very successful, he broke her spirit too. Like her energy, like you've seen it in her face. He walked in the room. That's how your husband make you feel, girl. He walks in the room and all the happiness flies out the window. I feel like you should stop worrying about what his feelings are. Also, maybe she would stop being so messy. Like all of these things that happened during this particular episode were lessons for Tisha. And hopefully, like, she finally gets it. That, all of that negative calling up, texting Josh and, Latrice too, getting your friend to come over here. All of that messy shit that y'all have been doing has landed you on a sofa with a lady with big orange hair telling y'all to sit the hell down or you're going to mess up everything. Akeisha and Big Willie, they should be here. Who is the reason that they're not here? This nigga walking down the hallway that came in here to tear up the damn, photo shoot. He's ruining everything for everyone, it seems like. He come in questioning the members of her team and, what is he doing here? What is he managing? Was he coaching you through a photo shoot? That's what his job is? Yeah. I feel like her team was there, like, motivating her. The opposite of what you're doing. What do you do at a photo shoot? And I feel like when you have a team and there's a photo shoot or whatever thing it is you have going on, they all need to be there. That way they can't come back to the table when y'all have your next meeting saying, I didn't know anything about that. I think everybody on your team has some value to add, you hope. And when you sit down and you're discussing the photo shoot, the people can say their point of view. all the way down to the makeup artist and the hair person and the wardrobe stylist. Her team did a good job. I'm not even mad at her team. So, there's that. But this issue with Glenn and the backpack boy. He looks at we'll get to the backpack boy, but Mr. Donald has already been informed by Tisha that this man feels like he's over here trying to collect his payments in coochie. And so he's probably like, oh my God, let me just go over here and try to de-escalate whatever this clown got going on. And Tisha, if they're going to have to deal with Glenn, then they're not going to want to deal with you. And if you want to take what seems to be a good team so far and throw it all away for this clown, then you don't want to be successful. That's all I can say about that. Mr. Donald is, hey, what's up? And Glenn goes in, I just came over here to see if it's funny business or real business. And if it's real business, I need to be a part of it. So I need to be CC'd on all emails. I need to be three-wayed on all calls. Three-wayed on all calls is psycho. So you mean if I have to call and ask this lady anything about business, you need to be three-wayed on it? And like I said, I was watching Carlos's review of the show, and they're always like saying, which I just don't understand. And we have different characters that we like on the show, different castmates for different reasons. But for them to be up there, I like Glenn and Letitia together. I just don't understand why. What do you like about this? And at the end of the day, to me, in real life, this is freaking scary. This is scary. It's triggering, I'm sure, for a lot of women who have gone through this type of nonsense. Can you imagine? You are married to a man who won't allow you to have your own bank account. It's like you belong to him. When you have to call him if he's doing, and this is the thing, when he's out doing dirty shit, just to make sure she's not doing the same thing he's doing, now he's requiring her, get on FaceTime. Let me walk around the house. Let me see who's there. Him and Ken from, I'm going to be cross-referencing Love and Marriage Huntsville and Belle Collective a lot because there's a lot of similarities going on over here. So for him to walk in the room, Carrie's husband walked in the room and she was like, hey, you popping up on me? Something. Then they sit down and have a conversation. He did not bring the, wind out of her sails. It was more like surprise, my baby's here. That's a different feeling. When your man pops up on you and the whole life spirit drains from your body immediately, they had to shut the photo shoot down because from there on, no more good pictures were going to be taken. This man is walking in a building with sunglasses on and making all these demands, and while he's telling, her investor, he's questioning her. What is he doing? Is he invested in anybody else? Why are we even having that conversation right here in this moment? You sound stupid. And to me, I feel like Glenn goes and gets gassed up by whatever ignorant person. I halfway want to say, I don't know. I'm torn. But did he get that from Cliff? Because Cliff said the same thing when Latrice went on her own and got her edge control deal. And he was upset that he wasn't involved in it. So this is what I mean when I say these two are similar. Where did he get that from? So now it just sounds like a conversation that he had with someone that was like, you need to tell her, like, you need to be CC'd on things and you need to be on calls when she's having important phone calls. I don't think the message was for you to go bust up the photo shoot and do that. But I do think that advice was given to him by somebody because this is a knucklehead. He didn't come up with this on his own. Oof, I'm so sick of him. Backpack boy is sick of him too. So Backpack boy walked over there and said he wasn't about to tell him, I'm not doing any of that. I'm not CCing you. I'm not emailing you. You know what I'm saying? He probably, Backpack boy, as much as I agree with your sentiment, I also feel like you could have put her in a worse situation than she already is at this point. Because Glenn is out here charging people. And when I say charging, I mean like a bull, ramming through people to come chase. He came after this man, and this man is laughing at him. Glenn is very good at charging through groups of people to run past someone that he's not actually going to fight. He did the same thing with Big Willie. I don't know if he thinks it makes him look tough to be, taking on these big dudes to make it look like all you look like is a fool. You look like an absolute fool with a shelf on the back of your head. Now Tisha's sitting up here crying or trying to hold back tears, and yeah, this is how you show support. I don't get it. So they're outside because they got ghetto and loud on the inside. Her friend, who is also messy, by the way, who came in there and was like, this is back when she was getting her makeup done, and she told her about the therapy, and she's like, yeah, you should do a sit down one-on-one because some people need an audience. Yeah, they both do. So you're right, Shantae. Now we're outside. Shantae told them we in these people's business. So y'all are all 40 plus. Seems like besides maybe the makeup artist, some of the film crew, and I don't know if this is the own film crew because there's people in this scene that I don't know where they came from. So I'm guessing these people got cameras and equipment. They got to put their shit down to come hold this nigga back when we know damn well he about to do nothing to Backpack Boy. Nothing. Ugh. He out here antagonizing the man, calling him sexual chocolate. Tisha, I don't know why you chose Backpack Boy as your representation. I don't know what kind of business he's going to handle. You know what I'm saying? So, like Mr. Donald, I get it. You know what I'm saying? He know how to act. Backpack Boy is out here antagonizing your husband. So, how do we move forward now? How do we move forward with this as your manager and the interaction that they had with he had with your husband? There's always you can't even come home and share anything about what happened with him because first of all you open your mouth to share your day and he's gonna switch it over to accusing you of cheating with one of these niggas because he's so insecure that his wife can't be in the same room with a man. And I mean, his insecurities doesn't come from him, the way he looked. Because I think Glenn think he fine. I think his insecurity comes from he knows exactly what he's doing, and he's afraid that somebody is going to come over here and say something nice to Tisha. Somebody is going to speak, positivity into her, and she's going to like it. That's his insecurity. Somebody is going to come over here and invest in Tisha and turn her into an independent woman because she's over here looking for her independency away from you. And I hope she gets it. And as far as this man being violent, I want y'all to please make me believe that he don't act like this at home. That he don't get so upset that he wolfs up in this lady's face. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying he puts his hands on her, but I'm saying this man has an aggressive, violent personality. And then when Tisha says things at the house when the cameras are down that he don't want to hear, or when he comes home because she didn't want to answer FaceTime, to teach him a lesson, tell me he don't be punching walls. Don't believe it. They out here matching energy, looking a damn fool. I think, I'm curious. I would love to know why, y'all want to see you like these two together. I like them together. Okay. I hope she don't show up with a black eye because she's getting too independent. He sat up there and told the therapist he doesn't like it. He feels like I'm her husband. I should be involved in the business. You don't know anything about the business. Where is your truck company? Logistics. Where's the Pearson Logistics? You went and bought a truck, and when he went and wanted to do this truck business, and she came over there with folders and things trying to show him like how to move forward with the business, he told her, I don't want you in my business like that. I don't need you in my business like that. All I need you to do is like call up people, find me clients. You know what I'm saying? Be my secretary. The job that I feel like fits you, where I can keep an eye on you. You don't worry about what's happening with the books. That's him. That's Glenn. But now all of a sudden, because he's her husband, he wants to be involved in her business. and control her management. Who child? This had me so upset. And I'm not even a Letitia fan because she'd be lying and being full of shit. But this was on some different. This was just different. Um, and I feel like, girl, why didn't you shut him down like in that moment while those people were around? You putting your hand over his mouth. You should have asked him to leave. You should have pulled him aside as soon as he came in and not allow him to question. What are you talking about? Do you need reinsurance? You should have been like, listen, we can talk about this at home. There's no reason for you to be here. I'm finishing up my photo shoot. And then if you want to talk about whatever questions you got, we can talk about it at home. Right now, I'm at work. So, just like you pulled up, go ahead and pull off. That's what she should have told him. But she's probably afraid to because she's more concerned with, well, 2 seconds later, we seen what happened. So, you know. She trying to protect her makeup and he upset talking about she acting like I'm the reason for her tears. Well, yeah, because she was smiling before you got there. So you were absolutely the reason for her tears. I don't know how he flipped himself into the victim talking about he's misunderstood. I don't, child. Anyway. What else? Is that all for that? I'm just trying to make sure I covered everything. One thing I will say that I didn't say, when he ran up on that man, Backpack Boy did not flinch. He didn't flinch. And when he ran like past him, like I guess he like had to get out of the way a little bit, but Glenn ran past him. Like, bruh, if you was trying to run up to him, that's what you would have done. Glenn, like I said, he's very good at pretending like he's gonna fight some big dude when he know he's not. Marie Monroe is over here opening new businesses. She got us office space. She's opened a new clinic. I don't really have a whole lot to say about this particular scene. I appreciate, and I'm not mad at it. You know what I'm saying? Because we do want to see the progress that we're making. The walls are green, and Marie Monroe is in green, and Selena's in green, and they all look cute in that little green room. Well, Selena, what are you doing over there? Are they friends? This was definitely very made up. It's okay because they wanted to discuss Marie's new business. Selena says she's offering her help. If you need any help, why you always, she got time on hands, honey. So if you're looking for something or somebody to help you do something, Selena is there. She's there to help, child. I don't think she needs no bail bondsman, but I don't know how that works. So maybe she just waits on a call from someone to let her know. They talk about therapy and they talk about how, it didn't work and it was a waste of time. And like I said, y'all are haters because it feels like it worked. So please explain what didn't work about it. And then, we can all agree, that y'all are wrong. Marie talks about Selena getting married. And well, I guess they've been meeting up like they've been invited to all the get-togethers because they haven't been causing drama. But Marie asked her about, her getting married and Mike keeping his house and her keeping her house. And the people said they were going to rent their houses out and get a house together. I think that's a smart idea. Marie says she does not think Mike should have his own house because that just leads, to opportunity for him to cheat around like Cedric was doing. If he gonna cheat, girl. At his rental home, at the gas station, down to the Taste, in the McDonald's. I don't know. Cheaters just find ways to get together. Not often, but sometimes. I sometimes see people like, you ever see people like in the back of like the grocery store parking lot or just off like having a conversation, having a little tryst. And, it seems like it's supposed to be secret just based on the way they're behaving. I feel like, yeah, that's what niggas do. So, I mean, it sounds like a good idea, honestly, for them to rent their houses out just in case, you need to go back to your prospective homes. So, I don't know. I don't think I would be taking any advice from Marie necessarily because she just kicked Cedric out and she's been doing the same thing Latrice is doing. Cedric just don't run her like that. But she's been running back and forth to the same man who's a cheater for the last, I don't know, 14 years or so. And I'm guessing that number from something they've said in the past. And she says she wants Selena to help find her a man. Girl, stop. I need y'all to stop with that find a man thing. Find a way to get this office building open, which we know you will. And, you can't find a man if you keep inviting Cedric in your life to be your man. You had a little slide, and I'm not saying that was supposed to be her man, but you had something going on, and you still let Cedric mess that up because that man wasn't about to be twirling around the room with you and Cedric at the same damn time. Latrice comes to visit Selena down to a craft table. I can't take Selena seriously with this. You're sitting in some room. You could do this at your house. You could set up a craft table at your house, Selena. You're not renting office space. Nobody's coming. That doesn't look like a storefront. It's just her in a room with, homemade earrings and whatever else she's got going on over there. But they talked about Selena having a stroke, and she was saying, because Latrice is having health issues, and Latrice said something. She was telling, like, how it went, how it started, how, her girls took care of her, how bad off she was. Plus, she had just lost her son. So I'm sure that stress probably played a part in it. Selena walks around looking beautiful, but I think she's very stressed out. She don't have no job. She be asking these people, if you need help, let me know. I don't know what Selena does, like, for real. I know she's not living off of homemade earrings. Mike, she's in a relationship, child. I don't get good vibes from Mike. Mike seems like he out here doing, the same as the rest of them. There's no examples besides Matt and Willie, who's no longer here, as examples of, a good husband. So that's why I keep saying bring that back. Like, if y'all are going to show us relationships, show us ones that are functioning. And I'm not saying perfect, but this dysfunction over here is ridiculous. So yeah, these two ladies are, dealing with health issues based on the stress that's in their life. And Latrice said, how long did it take, for you to get to recovery? And I'm like, so are y'all friends or not? Because your friend had a stroke and you weren't there. You didn't know, like, closer details about it. You know what I'm saying? She just was acting Latrice, because I feel like if it's not about Latrice, then it don't matter. And although Selena is beautiful, she don't have money like Latrice got. And Latrice gonna look down on you for one way or another. You know what I'm saying? So yes, Selena does fit the aesthetic. And also, your man used to be in a relationship with Selena. So I mean, I guess, child, I don't know how the dynamics of that work. It doesn't matter to me necessarily that it was long before her. I get why they would get along based on that, but I don't know if I need to be your friend. So they keep selling it like they're friends like that, but they're not friends like that, because this is a big thing for Selena to go through, and Latrice be asking questions like she just found out about it. So yeah, she's gonna have to take her health seriously and not be, pretending like it's not happening, which I feel like she's doing. Latrice asked, she said, if y'all talk to Leticia, and she like, nah, she blew that off. She said she don't want to talk about that drama anymore. They did talk about Tamara's father. That's what triggered the conversation about Selena having a stroke. And at the end of the day, Selena asked Latrice how she felt about therapy, and she said she thinks that, life is too short, especially after this conversation that they're having, and that she needs to go ahead and have that conversation with Latrice. We don't know when it's going to happen, but she's decided, after asking everybody in the city of Jackson, she's decided that she should go ahead and have that conversation. Carrie, down to her restaurant. I'm just showing this because for me, it feels like closure. They need to sell it. Her partner says they need to sell it. We need to go ahead and let it go. And although I'm sure it's sad because she's gonna take it as a failure. It's a business that didn't work out, but that's I feel like people who own businesses, they have a lot of stories of we tried this and it didn't work and we had to do something else. So this one just didn't work, and we'll see what happens, along down the road somewhere. The meetup. At the end of it all, Latrice did not invite Leticia to the meetup. Leticia is the one that called the meeting, but she is the head belle in charge. So that only makes sense. Again, beautiful. Is this the same hair she had? Whew, I'm sorry. Is this the same hair she had at her photo shoot? Because, they both look good. Um, they talked about basically the lady saying that they needed to put the mess on the table. So, what is it that we're going to do with what is it that we should not talk about? Because we have to move forward, you know what I'm saying, with as a collective on this show. And Latrice said she didn't want to hear no more about how she set her up with Mandy to come talk about Glenn. And she also admits that she can understand why that would, cause damage to a situation that's already damaged. These people were supposedly trying to work things out, and after 111 years, and having this lady come over and say what she said did not help the situation. So she apologized for that, but she, I guess still standing by the fact that she didn't know. She knew. I feel like she knew. I don't know that she knew that that question was going to come up. That's the part that she didn't know, maybe, but she knew about the other stuff. So there it is. You put these two people in a place together, and you can sit up here and not take accountability for making that a setup. But girl, it was a setup. And then Leticia says she has not been contacting any of her former employees, so we are not going to talk about that again. I don't believe her either. I think both of them did what they said on both sides that they did, but we have to table this conversation and let it go. If we're going to be a collective, we're not going to talk about it anymore. We don't trust each other for real. We're not friends for real. We're not back on track again for real, but we're going to be cordial, I guess, child, until, however the next fallout happens. And Latrice, let Leticia know like what she's been going through health wise. And I mean, if anybody tells you that, of course you're going, be sympathetic to the situation. Like she said, girl, I was mad. I did not want you to die. That's not what we were trying to do over here. And they talked about, what did they talk about? They talked about the employees. It was something else. Oh, Leticia told Latrice what happened, down at her photo shoot, and how the backpack boy, was antagonizing her husband. And Latrice was like, oh no, he was wrong. As much as I enjoyed it, I agree. He should have not had any type of interaction with Glenn, especially in that moment. He should have just told Leticia, after however that played out in private, I'm not doing this. So if I got to go through your husband, then I'm not going to be your manager. That was a conversation to be had with Leticia, because like I said, you don't know, like he might have went home and went upside her head because of the drama you caused. I mean, I ain't say he did it, but he act like a nigga who do. So yeah, they have decided that they are going to host an event for the Bells to hash things out. And I'm like, I guess, like, but y'all are the problem. What are we hashing out with the rest of the Bells? Let's don't bring shit and hashing out and all of that. But we'll see next week. They're going to be sitting at tables with little fascinators on, like they're having tea and crumpets and discussing. I am so sorry. I'm not bored with y'all. I'm just tired, child. Yeah, discussing. I don't know what they're going to discuss. These two are the ones with the issue. If y'all have tabled it, then maybe y'all should be thinking and having meetings about what events the Bells can be involved in as a collective. What kind of community events can they create? Galas and things. That's what they should be discussing. But child, we're gonna go ahead and see next week. Carrie over here bringing up the fact that somebody has said out in these streets there's a story about Mike having a baby. And it wouldn't surprise me. But Carrie, I don't feel like this was the right place to bring that up. And it looks like Maria's the one that's catching the heat for starting that rumor. I wouldn't be surprised because she don't like Carrie. So there's that. And yeah, I guess that's it. So yeah, well, we'll see y'all. When will I be back? I will be back in the morning for coffee talk. Tomorrow's coffee talk will be, a little bit of what we always do, but we're going to get into centers. We're going to talk about centers. So if you haven't been to coffee talk and you want to talk about centers, check me out tomorrow morning at 10. I'm there Monday through Thursday, most of the time. And yeah, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you when I see you. Bye, y'all.